Thank you, Jay. Crime, rodents, holes, and cracks. These are the issues that tenants say they face at the historic Bonaire apartments. Now they say enough is enough. Abby Bradshaw has been investigating those claims for months now. She joins us live. And Abby, how did we get here?
Yeah, Ashley, it was really a whole process. I've stopped by a few times, put in multiple open records requests, spoke to tenants, and even got the new owner to come down for a visit. Tenants say the conditions are deplorable. Redwood Housing says they want to fix it, but it could take a while. Years ago, this was the place to be. The original building dates back to 1889. Destroyed by fire in 1921, it got another chance in 1924 as the Bonaire Vanderbilt Hotel. Once considered a crown jewel of the Somerville Historic District, Bonaire hosted sparkling chandeliers, a large swimming pool, and some VIP guests, including President Taft. Those days ended in 1960 after owners couldn't secure a mortgage. Now, Bonaire serves as low-income housing. One tenant says it's not the place to be anymore.
April will be 16 years.
Elizabeth Santiago calls Bonaire home, but she says it doesn't feel like one.
They don't care about us. They slumlords. That's exactly what they are, slumlords.
The people Elizabeth cares about most try to stay away from Bonaire, but not for a lack of love.
My family means a lot.
Especially her grandchildren.
Oh yeah, I can watch them and take them to the park and all that, but no. If I see my grandbabies, I have to go to their house. Matter of fact, I went to my son's girlfriend's and watched my grandson, you know, and I stayed there because they don't want him here. So she brought me back Wednesday and I watched him here. But she says, I mean, because there's so much to getting him together and everything and bringing him here. I know it's not that, it's the nasty building. That really hurt my heart.
Elizabeth says what's supposed to be her home also hurts her health.
That's why I can't have my mold shot because of the mold in the building. They can't give it to me until they get it under control.
Another tenant didn't want to be identified, but the woman did want to share frustration. How long have you been living here?
10 years.
What's it been like in that decade?
Pure hell. But we still should not have to live like animals. Roaches, rats, bed bugs, yes, the mildew, the smell.
Another resident agrees.
It's not fair, right?
Tenant Frankie Morris points to even more issues.
There's drugs and stuff like that, and looking in the bathroom, the elevators, down the hall, and my carpet needs to be take up.
City documents indicate many of these problems aren't new. What's new is ownership. Redwood Housing bought the property 1 year ago for $15,250,000.
We inherited a lot of issues here.
Director Nick Bohm says Redwood wants to make a positive impact.
We want to be part of the solution here, and I think what we're working on, the community will be really proud of at the end. Once that renovation is put in place, it just doesn't happen overnight.
In our one-on-one, Bohm tells me there have been some updates.
We've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into security, being on site 24/7, that hadn't been here previously, into a new fire alarm panel system, so that there isn't always calling the police and fire to come out here. We've made investments into the elevators.
However, the more extensive work remains in limbo.
From a timing standpoint, we're probably looking at end of this year, beginning of next year, but it's really dependent on the funding sources to come through for this type of renovation.
Redwood hopes to receive low-income housing tax credits. The program is competitive, which means an application doesn't guarantee funding. We asked if they had a backup plan. What if it's not available by the end of the year? Do people here wait another year, or what's the plan B in that situation?
Yeah, so that's part of the connection that I've been making with the broader community, and look, I think our highest probability of being able to move that renovation forward, comes from having the appropriate community support.
But residents and community stakeholders say they can't wait any longer.
Pull in here for about 2 weeks. See how you like that.
You'll see. You come around here late at night, you see nothing but.
It is a war zone. It makes Chicago look like Mary Poppins.
In fact, they say some of the improvements already made are not effective.
Just put your hand in, and you're tall enough to reach it will open.
There you go. Nobody's gonna figure that out.
Another resident chimes in. Elizabeth also showing Fox 54 problems in her own apartment. From the walls,
Where's the water's leaking at? And then when you get over there, that water comes in like a waterfall.
to the kitchen sink.
I don't want to turn off all the way sometimes, so you have to watch that.
At the end of the day, Elizabeth and others here say they just want folks in charge to do the right thing.
I feel if you pay your rent and you do what you're supposed to do, and when you have a problem in your apartment, it should get done, not months later.
Live here, and you'll see they're not open. Your rodent problem is out of control, and we're paying the price for it. So your little spiff up that you gave her is a big fat storyteller. I didn't even recognize what city you were talking about, and I live here.
We've got to do something.
He's trying
Of course, and we want to be part of the solution here.
Wow, a lot packed into that
Yep.
story. So, has anything else happened since that story? You got all that information?
Right. Yeah, so I mean, that definitely was not the first or last conversation that we had with Nick. We actually had a conversation Tuesday this week over Zoom. He shared a PowerPoint presentation that kind of broke down what you saw a little bit in that story about what they've done in the past year, what they say they've done, and then plans for the future when that funding comes through, if that funding comes through. Now, something to point out with that, though, is that you saw in the story there that people were able to stick their hands in, push the door open. That's not supposed to happen. That door is supposed to stay locked. So
wow.
he wasn't even aware of that when we walked through the building. So in this Zoom call earlier this week, he says they're already addressing that.
Now, we do have 24/7 security staff at the property. They are stationed at that front sliding glass door, Abby. Since Tuesday, they've been there, and they will be for the foreseeable future. They're actually, if you were to go to the property now, they would check your ID upon arriving at the property.
So there's another update on top of this as well. Commissioner Catherine Smith McKnight, this is in her district. We brought this story to her. She invited the fire chief with Augusta Richmond County to come out, take a look at the basement. We have confirmed after he looked at that basement that he ordered a full inspection of the entire building. I submitted yet another open record request to get those results back to see what came out of that inspection. Haven't gotten it back yet, as I just put it in since that did just happen 2 days ago. But as soon as we get that, we'll share that with you guys as well.
All right, we know you'll stay on top of it, Abby.
Yep.
All right, thanks. Well, as Abby mentioned, this building is in Commissioner Catherine Smith McKnight's district, and she's been in talks with Redwood since last year. McKnight joined Fox 54 for that walkthrough of the building with Redwood, and she feels more improvements should have already happened by now. And when major renovation comes, she says it needs to be done thoroughly.
Get people out of here. That's my take on it. And then, in order to get people back in, screen them, check them for criminal background, drugs, alcohol, all that. And if they don't meet the requirements, they don't come here to live.
McKnight also says that she's not opposed to finding a different owner. In the meantime, she has asked Redwood to provide quarterly updates to ensure renovation progress. And as always, if you want to check out this story in detail, you can visit us at WFXG.com. We have all of the open records requests, full interviews. You can read all of that for yourself.